How to build your own blockchain project. Are you the founder of one with a development team not delivering and blowing up your VC budgets? Today, I will provide you with a full overview of what differentiates successful blockchain projects and development teams from failures. How to make sure you're spending your VC budgets wisely, and what are the most common pitfalls for blockchain project founders and how to solve them, minimizing the negative impact. The outcomes of this discussion for you will be increased understanding of delivery processes, ways on how you can outcompete on the marketplace, response to a question how to stably deliver and why enterprise development teams always outperform blockchain development teams, and solutions to your most common issues so you can focus on business feeling safe about the software development part. I will also share private insights from software development company delivering software for Fortune 500 companies and how they can be applied to blockchain development and project development specifically. If you're not a blockchain project founder or you're not thinking on building one yourself, today's presentation might still be valuable to you as we are offering referral program. In order to refer, send a message in Telegram pinned in the description under this video or via email. Without further ado, let's start. Fortune 500 development insights. Development process in crypto projects. Why enterprise software development teams outperform each and every time. Who am I and why I can speak on the topic? I'm the co-founder and CEO of Interexi, custom software development company with 150 engineers. We're working on 30 plus projects in parallel with City of New York, General Electric, SAP, Square, and largest crypto companies such as Bitflyer, which is the largest centralized exchange in Japan. We've built a range of Web3 products from scratch, including NFT smart contracts, including private standards that are not available on the marketplace till this day. Gamified platforms, games, Web 2 to Web 3 platforms, and business processes digitalization platforms as well. Interexi, 150 plus in-house engineers, 30 plus projects overall. We've built more than 150 plus projects over the last 6 years. The company is present for 6 years on the marketplace as well. Well-known companies as clients, tens of millions downloads, both Apple Store and Google Play. Core weakness spot of crypto projects and crypto development teams. First, development processes and team setup. This is one of the weakest spot that we see in the range of blockchain development teams, and I would say that this is one of the main reasons of why blockchain teams usually underperform in comparison with the enterprise development teams. They have proper processes in place, they have proper setup, which allows them to consistently deliver on time and on budget as well. Something that a lot of, unfortunately, crypto development teams do not have. Lack of accountability. The space is full of young geniuses, but it also comes with a certain issue in connection with the responsibility. Often, responsibility is not formed yet in the development teams and in between younger people that start to work on certain projects, which definitely does not help them to deliver over time and be able to ship products till the deadlines as well. Third, inability to solve issues, talk to each other directly. This is the issue of socialization that we often see in the engineering and crypto development teams. You might think that it's not a very important one, but we've seen a range of engineering teams having issues like this even and stopping the work on the projects because of communication issues that they were not able to solve. Usually it can be solved with a proper specialist in place that knows how to set up engineering processes and knows how to set up work process between people as well, either a Scrum Master or project manager in some cases. Fourth, responsibility as well, something I mentioned already, that there is definitely an issue with younger geniuses in this space that does not help them to outcompete the enterprise projects as well, because this is not a sprint, this is a marathon, and people should have responsibility over the things they deliver and responsibility essentially to each other as well. Fifth, absence of focus. There is a range of shiny objects for a range of projects out there. You have your community talking to you, you want to do this thing and that thing and implement staking, and then you want to implement NFTs, and then you want to build this new module and things like that. Absence of focus is one of the largest issues in blockchain software development at this stage. There needs to be a clear plan in place that helps the whole team to deliver and helps the whole team to function as well. 6, work under pressure, community. I would say this is the specific of crypto software development, a very, very harsh specific in a way as well, because development teams have to work under pressure of the community. And if the market is bad, if the market is correcting, oftentimes the community will not be performing quite well. They will be asking for updates, they will be negative. Therefore, engineers should have certain resilience in place, which is definitely a hard trait for the engineers, because it's hard to be a software engineer in the first place. And secondly, you have to be resilient, you have to understand how to talk to your community, or you essentially need to have a person in the team who would be able to talk to community and implement some of the suggestions as suggestions for the software product as well. So usually the classic role for this type of person in classic software development is called business analyst, and in terms of community you might say that it's a community manager. So it's kind of this setup, a hybrid between a business analyst and a community manager as well. Lack of trust to third-party consultants due to bad experience with people trying taking advantage of them. This is huge in our industry, unfortunately, and there are a range of bad actors in the space. They don't have proper companies, they don't have proper websites, they don't have 50+ reviews globally from international companies about the work, they don't have real teams working on the projects as well, they have bad intentions in the first place, they don't have proper entities, they don't have proper contracts, they're increasing business risks heavily. Each month we're hearing about another protocol getting hacked, and the situation unfortunately is not getting better as well. Work with proper companies, with people that are not anonymous, with proper entities, and with proper contracts in place as well. Moving further, who's this presentation for? If you had never hired, if you're hiring through an agency, if you're hiring in-house. So this is specifically for founders of software development projects who were never hire software engineers. Maybe it's just the start, maybe you've just raised funds, right? If you're hiring through an agency, if you're working with a software development team and hiring engineers through a software development team or through the agency that you're working with, you will get a bunch of value from this presentation as well. If you're hiring in-house, if you have an in-house engineering team, this will help you. This will be very, very valuable to you as well. As mentioned, if you are not a software development founder, or if you're not thinking on building your own project yourself at this stage, but you have great connections in the industry, this presentation might still be valuable to you, as we have a referral program in place. And as someone who values his reputation, I assume that before referring, you would like to check out what the company has to say, what type of previous experience, do they really know and understand what are they talking about. Moving further, product development roadmap template. This is a general template that's being used on the development of the products from scratch. If you are developing the project already, you might find yourself in one of the different setups in the current template at this stage. I will go through each and every step, explaining the importance of each and every step. You might think that this scheme is basic at this stage. However, it's very, very important to actually implement it on the project. It saves you time, it saves you money, it helps you to deliver on time, it helps you to recognize the bad actors and people that are not delivering value as well. It helps you to work with the user feedback sooner. It helps you to be more prepared for the potential product market fit. As mentioned, this cycle is the cycle of product market fit. There is not a lot of technology that our industry needs at this stage. I'm talking about crypto, I'm talking about blockchain. What our industry needs is product. This is specifically a scheme on how to deliver software products on time, on budget. First step, product discovery and conceptualization. This is a very, very important part. This part, if done right, saves you hundreds of thousands of dollars and months of wasted time as well. We have a specific process where we work with the business analyst, with the solution engineer, we work with the UI and UX designer, we work with the QA person, work with the project manager. All these people, they work as a team with you to help you outline the development sprints, proper setup, the software requirement specification document that's needed for the software development following the Scrum software development process in sprints. We carefully divide, we create low fidelity mockups, we create high fidelity mockups, we create user stories, we create user epics, we create testing QA cases as well. Acceptance scenarios for the features that are yet to be delivered by the engineering team, with the approval of the solutions architect building out the architecture for the whole solution. This preparation work is so crucial, It also helps you to actually formulate the vision of the solution, because as mentioned, one of the issues in this market is lack of focus. I'm not saying that you should be developing things using a waterfall type of process where you just plant one thing and you're developing it for 4 months and then you're just launching it on the marketplace. Marketplace moves very, very fast currently, so we have to adjust. We work using agile process in place, which helps to actually make changes in the process as well. But it's crucially important. This is one of the issues, one of the major issues that I'm seeing with the engineering blockchain development teams and blockchain projects. It's crucially important to actually know what you are developing and have the same vision crystallized on paper along with other team members as well, to communicate the vision that you have and functionalities that you have for the product as well as have frequent sync-ups on the current situation, on the solution, on the marketplace, on the features. Very important. Step number 2, requirement gathering and planning. This is essentially the work that we are doing with the clients in order to formulate the SRS document, formulate the high fidelity UI and UX design of the solution, formulate the core features, and essentially create enough meat, let's say, for the software engineers to be able to kick off the development work in the upcoming couple of first sprints, and in order to essentially be able to continue further in the process as well. Step number 3, design and development. Design is actually usually being handled during the step 1 and step 2. However, if the whole solution was not able to be designed during the step 1 and step 2, it just continues to be designed during the development stage as well. We just work on the design of the parts of the product that engineers are not working on yet. Quality assurance and testing is being added right away, and we also need a QA person during step 1 and step 2 essentially outline acceptance criteria for the user stories, for the user epics, and for the features present on the product as well. And development starts with the step 3. Marketing and promotion, something that we do not handle ourselves. However, I'm a big proponent of essentially product teams, product owner teams, 100% should be working through all the process with a software engineering team, and marketing team, working with the software engineering team through the whole process as well. Because there should be some things in contact in terms of whether or not you actually plan to launch like excessive marketing campaigns. What is the deadline? What is the date for this campaign? Maybe you need things to be done in a certain way. Maybe you need a certain piece of user experience that you actually want. Maybe in certain cases, the user experience proposed will heavily decrease marketing effectiveness because of additional actions that the users will have to take. Maybe there would be some issues in terms of the user experience, in terms of too many steps, and you will be flushing your marketing budgets down the toilet. These things, they need to be discussed and they need to be present during the software development part as well. Launch and deployment, something that we essentially handle ourselves and that any development team should be handling themselves as well. A very, very crucial part, especially in our industry as well, because the industry is highly financialized. Step 5, monitoring and crash analytics. Usually we do have a testing, especially with the launch of products in our industry before the actual launch. On the dev setup, on the dev server, we run a range of tests to make sure that the solution will be working properly. The solution cannot be hacked, because we definitely do take certain responsibility over the solution that's being delivered as well. Support and maintenance, something that's necessary. I'm always saying that launch is only the first step of the project. It's like the birth of the child. But if you halt any work on the product after the launch, it did not make sense to make the product in the first place. You're getting crucial market feedback as soon as you launch from the market. And essentially, this is the best type of feedback you can only get, because everything that we're thinking on in terms of different functionalities, maybe people will like this and like that, this is all does not make sense. The only thing that makes sense is what comes specifically from the marketplace out there. There are actually ways to be able to get market feedback even sooner in the process, which helps you to go through the iterations of market feedback and iterations of working on the product even before you actually launched, which makes you way more market ready, with a very, very higher chance in comparison to the competition to actually find product market fit, which is the most important thing in this cycle today. Product analysis and optimization. This is essentially the work with the product owner on the product, which is usually the client. However, in some cases, we do provide product owners from our end as well, and marketing teams as well. Iterative development and roadmap updates. Yes, very, very important, especially in our setup. If you would have the token for your project, constant necessary updates, they're essentially necessary because you will be getting certain feedback, let's put it this way, from your community if you won't be working on the solution. And even me personally, when I'm looking at certain altcoins, I'm trying to always find the GitHub and always try to see what were the last updates on the software part of the solution. It gives me a very, very good understanding of what exactly is happening with the project and helps me to look into the project right away. Main goals for the preparation phase. This is essentially step 1 and step 2, where we are outlining the whole solution. Where usually we do not, you have to understand, we do not outline the whole solution right away, because to pretty much provide a full overview, technical overview of the solution on paper, in some cases it might actually take from a couple of months till half a year even. And we simply do not have this time. We focus on having a small preparation phase on the projects from 2 to 4 weeks, depending on the size of the projects, of course. If you're essentially building something smaller, it might take less time as well. And kick off of the development process right away to make actually sure that we would be able to start the work on the solution, start iterating, start talking, start building features. This is one of the main things. So in the preparation phase and the first steps on the preparation steps, we focus on sprint 1 for the engineering team and for the design teams as well, to make sure that we will come up with the necessary screens, necessary UI and UX, so engineers can already start the work. And in parallel, the business analysis team will continue outlining the solution with you. Now, point number 2, approved requirements backlog. This is essentially the backlog of functionalities that we are building, that we see that the product needs. And this thing we need to actually get approved before any kickoff of the engineering, because solutions architect need to understand what actually will be happening on the product, and it actually needs to get approved with the engineers as well. Number 3, solution architecture, database scheme. Pretty standard part for any software development out there as well, very, very necessary. Point number 4, approved final estimation of the project. We do usually update the estimation of the project after the finalization of the business analysis. Oftentimes, clients do add some new functionalities in the process when talking with the team. Sometimes we focus on certain set of functionalities, we focus on the MVP, we make sure that we are not spending a lot of budgets at the first stage, we make sure that we ship into the market as fast as possible, that we can get the feedback from the marketplace. We can spend some money on marketing as well and see how the solution will essentially be working, what are the functionalities it needs an update. Maybe there were certain features or even sections of the product that are not that necessary by the marketplace. There is an interesting statistics that I think Google Docs features, only like 20% of them are being used most of the time. And this is essentially the statistics for the most of software products and SaaS businesses out there as well. Most of your clients are using 20% of your features most of the time. So other 80% is essentially for a very, very specific group of users. Last but not least, prepared for active development. Team allocation, PM software preparations, budget. A very, very important part. Essentially, final allocation of the team, solution architect and PM, they are proving what are the specialists that will be finally be working on the product based on the product analysis and the overview that we have at this stage. Project manager software preparations, you do usually use Jira to have everything in place. It's a real-time project management software. And this is a very, very important point. This is a crucial point. This is a crucial point that actually will help you to remove most of the issues that you have with the engineering teams, whether or not you're hiring in-house or you're working with the third-party development teams. You should have a proper project management board in place, which is updated in the real time. You should be able not to ask like your PM, like what is happening? Can you give me some updates? You should be able to go on the board at any given moment, 3 a.m., 2 a.m., and see what other functionalities that are being developed currently. What are the pitfalls? What's planned for the next week? What is done? What's being tested currently? This is a crucial process to actually be able to have accountability with your engineering team. And accountability is the main thing in terms of the proper delivery over time. Consistent, proper delivery and shipment of functionalities and product features. Budget. As well, a very, very important part, we work with the optimization of the budget. We are quite agile in terms of the budget, because in some cases we might remove certain functions. We might remove certain team members that if we do not need them. In our cases, if we are focusing on the time frames, we are also quite agile with the budgets. We can add certain team members, we can add certain functionalities into the product as well. One of the core functions of the project manager on the project is to work with the budgets and time frame of the client on the project. Moving further, business analysis. Artifacts to be prepared, product introduction, backlog, sprint 1, requirements, roadmap. This is the standard list of things that should be present. As well, if you're working on the product, if you're just at the start of building your own, or if you're in the process already, these are the things that you should have in place. Everything needs to be on paper. Engineers need to know this paper very, very well. This saves hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions. It saves a bunch of time as well. Requirements flow, requirements, sessions, analysis, and documenting, review, approval, development. This is a constant piece of work of business analyst with the client on finalization of the requirement, on finalization of the product vision, on the product view out there as well. Point number 3, change management flow. One of the artifacts that we are providing in the process as well. Point number 4, artifacts required to kick off the development. Usually, these are user stories, user epics, high fidelity UI and UX design available in certain software, usually Figma, to be able to kick off the work from the point of view of engineers as well. And acceptance criteria for the functionalities out there, and the overall product vision, product overview, because it's a very, very important thing when your dev is actually working focused on the project. That's why when we are providing developers, we make sure that they're actually working only on your project. They are dedicated engineers. It's a highly intellectual work, and once the person is actually focused on one project, he understands the product vision, and he is actually building the product himself. There are so many things that are coming up in the process that he will be adding into the build. He will be adding into the business value as well. He will be talking, he will be proposing solutions, he will be giving you feedback. No, I don't think these things should be done this way. I think this way is actually better. It's crucially important to have dedicated engineers working on your product, focused on your product as well. Number 5, consulting in best solutions. Backlog ideas. This is essentially consulting that's being done by all of the members of the team out there. Business analyst, project manager, solutions architect, QA specialists, UI and UX designer, software engineers as well. Each and every specialist present on the team building the whole solution will be able to provide necessary feedback, very, very, very valuable feedback, because these people are in the field. They are building the solutions. They know what is happening, especially certain type of specialists that might be working on several projects at the same time. People like solutions architect, because usually they are more focused on the project at the start of the whole build, but later in the process they essentially change and they tend to spend a little bit less time just approving the fact that the solution is being engineered and delivered according to the initial scheme that was developed in the first place. UI and UX design. Design needs clarification, default thing. UX research, very, very important thing. One of the issues with crypto currently is user experience, and I'm always saying that the companies that would be able to focus on user experience and actually improve user experience heavily, they will be the one that will be winning, because with the improved user experience you'll be able to add more people into the space, which is more liquidity for any type of project as well, and for the space as well, which is a net positive for the space. Point number 3, design key features. This is essentially about the design of the key functionalities of how they will look on the product and their user experience as well. Design concept, low fidelity mockups. These are the parts that are provided before essentially the time where the high fidelity UI and UX design is actually created for the product. These are necessary mostly from the user experience point of view and to be able to be at the same page as well. Design for the first sprint, as mentioned, we do focus on providing designs and software specification overview for the first sprint in the first place to make sure that the engineers can actually kick off the work. We don't want to be working on the SRS for 2, 3, 4 months. We don't have this time in our industry. Architecture diagram, database scheme, financial scheme, a very, very important part in our industry as well. We do not provide tokenomic services ourselves. However, we have partners that do that, and it's crucially important for the solution architect to actually be working with the tokenomics expert on your end if you actually plan to launch the token somewhere down the road. If you're speaking about just a software solution at this stage, that's even easier. Smart contract structure, very, very important thing, because smart contracts are immutable, and this structure needs to be done in place initially, because like there are some workarounds you might be able to implement down the road if you want to change some things, but yeah, this part is crucially important, and that's why planning in our industry is very, very important as well, because smart contracts are immutable. Security, crucial part as well. You cannot neglect this. You're working with the funds of the users, you're working with the connection of the wallets and things like that. In general, the recommendation is to use the framework that are being used on the marketplace, not try to kind of integrate something new, develop something new yourself. Use tested things that are working well on the marketplace. Integration, layout, and white paper tech part, pretty straightforward parts. Estimation and planning, this is more from business point of view. We do also have main tools here like Jira and Confluence. Jira is for the project management, Confluence is essentially for the preparation of software requirement specification. Project setup, PERT estimate, this is the estimate that will provide you with the overview of the worst case scenario and middle case scenario for the development of the product, because we always have to understand what are the time frames, what are the timelines, what are the issues. Because as mentioned, I do think that one of the reasons of why meme coins essentially became this power in the marketplace is because I do think that marketing people and market making people, they became pissed off with bad engineers on the marketplace. Imagine you were preparing some type of marketing campaign, you were trying to essentially connect with influencers, deliver some market making operation as well, and one day, just 1 week before the launch, you figure out that nothing is actually done and the engineers need some more time. This is crucial issue for the prices of the tokens out there, for marketing campaigns, for the market making work as well. And I do think that marketers and market making eventually just decided to remove this heavy software development part from the equation so they can focus more on marketing and market making within the product, within the meme coin, right? But it seems that altcoin phase seem to be returning, and I do understand that also a chunk of the retail, once they will be coming, they will be definitely coming into functional altcoins. So this is a very, very important part about software development in the niche, to actually understand what is happening at each and every point of time. Resource plan as well, so you will get the overview of the specialists necessary at each and every step of the development of the project. Necessary thing as well, because essentially budget and estimate depends on the amount of specialists and on the time of the specialists that they will have to spend on each and every part of the development of the solution. So in general, it depends on the amount of, let's say, engineers, for example, that you will have on the product. In some cases, you want to speed up, for example, you would want to have 4 engineers. In some cases, you would understand that you have some time, or the first version of the solution is not that large, so you would essentially want to have 2 engineers, and therefore the budgets would actually be smaller in comparison to obviously having 4 engineers working in parallel on the project. How not to get screwed up by engineers? Make sure they're not lying to you. Very, very crucial part, I would say that the title of this topic is not very professional, but this is unfortunately something that is happening vastly in our industry. We need to understand this, we need to understand how to fight with this part as well. These are actually practical tips, practical action steps for you currently to implement even tomorrow. External communication. First calls with business analyst and designer. This is from our process. Scope, detailing, sync, 2 weeks usually. Design sync 2 times a week as well. Weekly sync with the project manager. This is essentially the overview of proper process, how you should have it in place in order to make sure that you have accountability and you have your hand over everything that's happening. Again, this is the process if you're working with a trusted, proper third-party team with a proper contract, with proper non-anonymous team members as well. If you're working directly with your engineers, I will have a different, essentially, set of recommendations as well. So that's why I do have external communication and internal communication right on this slide. Weekly sync with project managers, weekly calls with the project managers to focus on the updates, focus on what happened, what are the issues, when the certain functionalities will be delivered. On demand calls, Slack plus Zoom, you need to have a direct way of communication, and it's better when it's professional. It's not like WhatsApp, it should be professional, should be something like Slack. Paired presentation as well, because paired presentation essentially forces the engineering team to provide you with certain expectations, and then you can hold them accountable to these expectations as well. One of the tips that I will be providing a bit further through the presentation is that you should always be asking about the estimates from the engineers before they start work on the thing, because this way you essentially put them into certain boundaries, right? And you kind of frame them. So they would essentially have to deliver at least around the estimate that they provided. Internal communication, sprint planning. This is something that our team essentially is doing. Constant sprint planning once in 2 weeks for each and every development sprint, which are 2 weeks period of development time for the project, which is essentially the full project is divided into. Daily syncs, that's something our team essentially has internally. Sprint demos, very, very important part. Once in 2 weeks for larger solutions, obviously. If we are speaking about smaller builds and things like that, or if you want to have a different type of work process where you're more focused on the solution, you want to be there, or maybe you have the CTO in there, the process would be a bit different, right? We will have way more syncs. However, if you are a business focused founder, and if you want just to fully outsource the software engineering and still actually have the connection, have the understanding, have the accountability, this is the process that we are using with these type of founders. This is the process that works very, very well. Sprint demos, so once in 2 weeks for larger builds, we essentially provide you with the full version of the solution that is happening currently. You're able to check out it by yourself, and we are showing what was done in the last 2 weeks, what are the pitfalls, what are the things that are delivered, and how the whole thing works as well. And we give you the option to obviously test it out yourself, check it out yourself as well. Crucial part, it might be obvious for certain people in the marketplace there, but there are so many founders, so many projects that just give money to someone. 4 months later, they ask like, what's happening? Is there anything done? And nothing is done because they did not have accountability in the process. Point number 4, sprint retrospective. This is a very, very important part for the internal engineering team to essentially share some feedback over how the sprint went, what was delivered, what was not, what are the issues, why it was not delivered if something was not delivered, and what to do moving further to make sure that these issues won't happen again. How to hire a developer and make sure he's actually working. Actionable steps. Apply third-party engineer to an interview process. This is like huge alpha that no one is actually using in the industry. You can go on platforms like Upwork or Fiverr. Probably Upwork is better from this point of view. And just just hire like a senior software guy for 2 to 3 to 4 hours to help you during the interviewing process of the engineers, or even conduct the interviews instead of you. Usually I would suggest that you should be on the interviews in 2, because if it's a hired contractor, he might have that like this short-term view and he might not care much, but still his questions and the way he will be conducting the interview will help you drastically. Largest mistake in business is hiring. Largest issue. First is figure out how to sell and how for the revenue to actually come into the company. Second largest issue is hiring. And I would say for the larger businesses, like if you're not kicking off, main issue in each and every business is hiring. Crucial part. Good hire can change your company very nicely. Bad hire can easily kill the company as well, depending on the company. Source on freelance platforms. As mentioned, Upwork.com probably would be the best one if you would like to find the senior engineers for several hours. Ask around. Best hires are often referrals. This is a very, very interesting thing as well, that in our industry especially, everything works based on the referral basis too. A lot of people referring a lot of people out there, a lot of engineers. However, there is a bunch of talent out there that can be hired from the market. You just need to have proper process in place to vet this talent, or work with someone that have this process already. Search listing websites and talk to several companies. There are essentially different websites like clutch.com, for example, that provides a list of software development providers with the reviews, of the previous clients that actually might be helpful in terms of sourcing the potential companies for the job in the first place. Asking the community you know and trust, simple step. As mentioned, this is essentially connected with the referrals. How to make sure the dev is actually working. Actionable steps as well. Very, very important. I would say this is easily the most important part of the presentation, and this is one of the issues of, like, a lot of people, they know about this process in the first place, but the issue is that they are not getting implemented consistently in crypto development teams. And you just have to implement them consistently in crypto development teams especially. Point number 1, daily stand-ups. Daily syncs 10 to 15 minutes following Scrum and Agile software development processes, software development standards, I would say. Crucially, for the engineers to give updates, what they were working on yesterday, what are the issues, what they will be working on today. Crucial step of accountability. They have to talk, they have to speak out the things that they're working on. In this case, they won't be like, they're kind of providing you certain expectations and certain things that you will be able to hold them accountable to over time. Point number 2, at least daily commits. More often is better. So this is essentially about the version control system such as GitHub. I would suggest to have 100% daily commits. The proper thought process is usually after each and every feature. Features might take more time, so after each and every function, they do essentially a PR, and someone on the team is essentially checking that this out and approving it or not, right? If you have this type of process. Project management board, Jira, mentioned already. You should have a real-time board. This is another tool for accountability for the engineer as well. And you might think, yeah, like I'm framing the engineers and crypto guys, they are like geniuses. They don't want to work this way. They want to have like freedom. Believe me. And in a proper setup, if this would be properly set up, engineers, they will appreciate this because it will keep them accountable as well. They will keep them working in the process. They will appreciate how nicely it actually feels, how robust the whole system is set up, how nicely they are moving through the goals. They will be seeing the finalization, the results of the work as well, which is very, very important. On the board, all the tasks that were made, all the issues, very important. Point number 4, development methodology implemented. Scrum, I mentioned it several times already. It's a development methodology that essentially suggests to work using bi-weekly development sprints with the sprint planning, with daily stand-ups. Essentially, these are all the necessary things that you need to have implemented. And this heavily increases the success chance of software engineering. And this is heavily neglected in blockchain and crypto development teams, 100% at this stage. If you're a VC even, like if you would just get yourself a Scrum Master, right, who would be able to maybe lead 4 to 5 projects at the same time, right, you will heavily increase your success chance, heavily increase. If you would just hire this one Scrum Master who would essentially be able to work on several projects at the same time. Just help to implement this process and keep people accountable to follow this process as well. Like it's a heavy, in some cases, what you would be able to do is cut the investment as well in the additional round. So it's kind of like your own point of contact that verifies, but validates what is actually happening there. Because like if the engineering team is working with this process implemented, they can just not deliver. They just cannot, only if they are very, very bad, right? So it's a crucial part. What I'm seeing with VCs, essentially people doing private investments in the projects in this space, is that they're usually saying, or like projects that usually come in with their own like development teams and things like that, have someone on your end to check, have someone on your end to verify. You know the industry well. You know how much money you were losing already in investing into these type of projects. Have a person to verify what is done on the engineering point of view, the engineer, software developer, and have the person to verify the work process. It's kind of additional help. You can even say to the companies that you would start working with, I will provide you a person who would be able to set up proper engineering process in place. So this is additional value. This is to outcompete other VCs in the marketplace. But you will, again, heavily increase the success chance of your investments. Calls with camera on only. This is a crucial part as well. In our current setup, everyone is remote. Calls with camera on only. By the way, if the engineering team is based in one office, that's like very good. That's like the best. Along with the founders, very, very nice. Number 6, frequent check with third-party tech lead. $50 investment once in 2 weeks, infinite value. This is crucial alpha part. No one is doing that. As mentioned, hire a senior engineer on platform like Upwork or somewhere else just for like a couple hours. And once in 2 weeks, he's just coming in. He's just checking what was done, how's the progress, how are the things moving, and he's able to tell, are the engineers actually delivering, are they working, or are they just lying to you, unfortunately, and just saying some things that does not make sense in the first place. Crucial part, huge alpha here. Bi-weekly backlog planning sessions, crucially important as well. And this is something you can be participating with yourself, even if you're a business founder. So if you're not in tech, here you would be talking about functionalities, you would be talking about features, you would be talking about the current state of the product as well. Ask for estimates before letting them work. A very important part as well. I have mentioned it in the presentation as well already. You need to frame and the engineer to be able to hold him accountable in the process as well. Crucial part. Hourly rates. So I would also provide you with some pricing out there. I do think it's crucially important to understand, and I'm providing you with the hourly rates in terms of differences in different regions and different type of setups. So the first setup is in-house. If you're hiring in-house engineer, junior engineer hired would be from 1 to 1.5k months. I'm specifically talking about Eastern Europe. And here I would say that these are not like blockchain devs. Blockchain devs would probably be just a little bit more expensive, right? But in general, this should be all right in terms of in general, it should be right. Middle engineer from 2.5 to 4.5k months, and senior engineer is 4.5 to 6.5k months. This is essentially in-house hiring of a proper engineer. It's quite nice. Agency-wise, so if you're working with a company like ours, for example, and you have to understand there are specific type of clients that will be benefiting heavily from working with a company like ours, and there are certain type of clients that will not. Most of blockchain companies, due to the current processes, will actually benefit, but maybe not from the certain engagement model. We have different engagement models in the company. In some cases, we do provide full engineering teams to work on your product. In some cases, we do team augmentation services. The difference is that with team augmentation services, we just provide you certain specialists. So you might just need, for example, one Solana engineer. We will give you one Solana engineer, right? But you will be working with the account manager. Solana engineer will have support of the technical technical lead. You will know that he won't essentially disappear. You will have the process from our end to help set up the work with him, and you will have all the accountability and process in place to allow for the steady delivery over time as well. And he'll also be vetted by us, and essentially this would be the guy that we've been working for quite some time already on a range of projects. So this is the way that you're working with the agency is that you're essentially heavily decreasing business risks, and you can also scale and descale pretty fast, right? You can be scaling teams quite nicely just because of the fact that agencies, they would essentially have a large amount of people in place, right? And they will vet people for you. They will like the whole engineering hiring processes. It's such a huge industry by itself. Like there are companies charging 50k right away if they actually help enterprise companies to hire and put on the job senior software engineers. This is something that's happening in the industry currently at this stage. And essentially building an HR and recruitment department for the software engineers of the company is such a large investment. I would not suggest to actually perform this investment and be building this until like you're a team of 30 at least. Use third-party services, use agencies, use like recruitment firms or something, because it is essentially a very, very costly type of activity in the first place. There are so many checks if you're doing it like for the first time. Even if you would hire like a software dev for several hours to help you on the interview as well, it's like just this type of basic setup. So with the agency, and if we're providing you with the full development team, we're working following our process that is established. We essentially also do it in a way where we heavily decrease in business risks. I explained the whole process to you already. We take certain responsibility. You get the team that knows how to work together and know what to expect from each other as well. And in general, it just saves a bunch of money and time, or time as well, but it usually is specific to certain type of projects. So if we're talking about full development teams, the budget for a project, the development budget for a project should at least be starting from 150K. And we should be talking about at least 2 to 3 months of the development. So it's definitely a larger build in the first place. If we're talking about team augmentation, that's like a minimum of 1 engineer. He will be already providing a bunch of value in the first place. So agency, Eastern Europe, senior engineer 7 to 10K months, middle 6 to 8. In some cases, 5 to 7 even. Cheaper, you'll probably get sold a junior that you will essentially lie to, and they will say that this is a senior engineer. Junior, 3 to 5K, I would say 2 to 4, depending on the junior. But if it's proper junior, yeah, it might be 5. It's like a higher boundary, right? India, Pakistan, 30% cheaper on average. Western Europe, 30% more expensive on average. United States, 50 to 100% more expensive on average as well. This is a very, very crucial overview that you essentially should have in terms of understanding the hourly rates as well, and the things that you are paying. Q&A, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. Several things I mentioned. We do have a 10% referral program. It's not just a referral program that pays you once. It will be paying you on a monthly basis. With each invoice of the client, it will be paying to you. We have partners that we are paying close to mid 5 figures a month, which is a very, very nice passive income for just connecting us with the potential clients, because we do all the heavy lifting. We do the whole sales process. We do the whole process of finalizing the requirements, of providing estimates. You don't have to do anything. You just have to connect us, and we do all the heavy lifting as well. If you have a requirement for the blockchain product development at this stage, or if you are working on the product currently, you have an existing team, maybe you would like to get an audit of the existing development processes, maybe you would want to add a project manager, maybe you would want to add a certain specialist like a business analyst into the process, a QA specialist. If you want to hire several engineers, there will be a link in the comments and a link in the description of this video as well. There will be a link to schedule the call right away if you had a hot request currently, or a link to reach out where you would be able to talk, to ask some questions, and then if you would want, schedule a conversation and move this further as well. I hope this presentation was valuable to you. We are at the crucial stage of the start of the crypto market as well. You still have time to build products. You still have time to fundraise. I do think that the market should not be like the bull run, the bull cycle should not be ending anytime soon. And I do believe this is a very, very nice time, especially with us moving into Q4, because Q4 range of companies, they usually start to focus on, oh, we have to spend these budgets, we have to build this thing, we're not ready here, we're not already there. There are reasons you might be not ready, and we are here to fix these reasons. Thank you very much for watching this video. I'll be seeing you tomorrow. Bye-bye.